So I have been giving you some background last two classes about this book of death, one of the most mysterious books in Savitri. It is called Canto 3, Book 8, Canto 3. There is a little history about the composition of this book. The first draft of this book belongs to the period of what is called the Arya period, 1918, first draft. And this is one of the pages from that draft in Sri Aurobindo's own writing pertaining to the Book of Death. This one. Now, in the earlier draft, there were no books as such. It was a long narrative of just about 1,000 lines. Now it has become 24 times larger than that, and therefore the entire arrangement got changed completely in the course of evolution of Savitri. Around 1946 or 47, Sri Aurobindo had kind of formalized the entire structure of Savitri in several books. And this book was taken for revision in 1947. At that time, he didn't really do any revision, but he made a specific change by marking their Book of Death 3, Death in the Forest. That is what he had dictated, plus a few lines and changes in the original text of 1916-18. Now, this has become, in 1947, Book 8. Book 8 dealing with death. It is significant in its own way. In the horoscope, the 8th house is the house of death. 8th house is the house of death. And here also now it becomes the 8th book in the whole thing. And it was more or less about that time that Sri Aurobindo had taken the occult decision to withdraw. So that death, that 8th house, Book of Death, they are linked up. In the horoscope of Sri Aurobindo himself, there is something very significant corresponding to the 8th house. So all these are occult relationships one could perhaps see in this book here. Now, last time I was telling you that, well, I mean, those who were here, I was telling that the upper part of this page, the first 4 lines, have now gone to Book 7, Canto 1, which did not exist till 1946. Book of Yoga came after 1946. And the lower part, from that 4th line downward, it is that which really constitutes the present Book of Death as we have in Savitri. And the whole thing is in Sri Aurobindo's own handwriting. You can see how beautiful, how distinct, how clear it is. He used to write. By the way, I don't know whether you can make out or not, but let me try to show you. See, for instance, this word, perhaps she felt in the dim forest huge. You can read that line? Perhaps she felt in the dim forest huge. You see that word huge, E, that E of huge, he used to write E like Greek epsilon. That E which is there is the epsilon Greek, you see. So that E was always, in fact, at number of places you can see that his E more or less corresponds to the epsilon of the Greek alphabets, you see. Mother, everywhere is like that, you see. See, for instance, now, how he has trod and know the forest flowers. You can see the of forest flowers here. And flowers, E here also again, he used to write E as epsilon of the Greek letter, see. Now, the transcription of what we have seen here is this one. They are careless glories, those seen to our indifferent doom, in heartless splendors clad, who hid with his bright hand the death of joy. Swiftly the fatal day came striding on. Now these lines in their contents became a part of the first canto of seventh book of Yoga, these 4 lines. And then the book of death starts from here. Now it was here in this great golden dawn. Dawn is the full stop. It was here in this great golden dawn. As I said last time, this it here. Now it was here. It corresponds to the fatal day. The fatal day was here. The fatal day was here. Now the fatal day was here in this great golden dawn. That is the connotation of the line here, see. And then it goes on here. By Satyavan upon a forest stone, what prayer she breathed her soul and Durga knew. That is the way she used to spell Durga in the early days, T-double-O, not D-U, you see. Now, the point which I am trying to make here is, in fact, we have already seen it, but I am kind of rushing through some of these aspects again, because this fatal day in the present context here is not available for a passage with which the book of death begins. Now it was here, that is how the latest passage reads here. Now that it corresponds to what? That's the point here, you see. But that it can be linked up in 2 ways. See, if you see the part pertaining to Canto 1 of Book 7, how it ends, because it is with that it is linked up, you see. The year now paused upon the brink of change. No more the storm sage with stupendous wings, and thunder strode in wrath across the world, and still was heard a muttering in the sky, and rain dripped wearily through the mournful air, and grey, slow-drifting clouds shut in the earth. So he is describing the scene, the atmosphere of that particular time when the fatal day is to arrive, you see. And grey, slow-drifting clouds shut in the earth. Already the indications of the fatal day are symbolically put there, you see. So her grief's heavy sky shut in her heart. The sky is full of clouds, heavy, and so also in the grief of Savitri. A still self hid behind, but gave no light. She is waiting for some guidance, some help, what to do about this one. No voice came down from the forgotten night, but she doesn't get anything at all. Only in the privacy of his brooding pain, her human heart spoke to the body's fate. Her human heart spoke to the body's fate. Now, this is the end of the part connected with first canto of book 7, what we are hearing. Now, it is with that you can now see the beginning of the book of death. Now it was here. So all that only the previous is that it gets connected with that entire description straight away, you see. It gets connected with that, you see. You don't need specifically the fatal day to be present here. That whole thing gets connected directly, you see. Now, this is what we have in book 7, Canto 1. But actually, Book of Death appears after book 7. The end of book 7, Canto 7, is here. Savitri, as we have already seen, was asked, advised, told to annul herself completely so that only God be. That only God be there. To be God's void completely. So that whatever has to be God done in her will be done by God Himself directly in her. Savitri has done that. Savitri could have vanished into that nothingness of God. But then the Mother Earth, the ancient Mother, would not allow Savitri to disappear from this creation. She cannot allow Savitri to go and merge into the Absolute. She has a work to do here in the context of the earth, and she cannot go away. So she clutches Savitri back. And then what happens? She clutches with what? She has become now time and the dreams of God in time. She would have gone into eternity and vanished. But now she was time and the dreams of God. She has to fulfill. She has to make those dreams real. She has a work to do here. She was time and the dreams of God in time. She was space and the wideness of His days. What is infinite is all right. She cannot go away here. But what about this place here, this finite? It has to have the quality of the infinite. Savitri has to do that work here. So she was space with the wideness of His days. From this she rose where time and space were not. The superconscient was her native air. Infinity was her movements and natural space. So eternity looked out from her on time. So Savitri has been brought back. The Mother Goddess has brought her back, and therefore it is she, eternity, who is looking on time through her, you see. And therefore in that context, now it was here in this great golden dawn. The story begins from here, you see. The connection gets established with this thing, with the present canto here directly, you see. Now it was here in this great golden dawn, by a still sleeping husband, lane she gazed into her past as one about to die. Satyavan is there sleeping. Savitri has got up early morning because she knows something is going to happen today. She was ready for that thing. She gets up early morning. By a still sleeping husband, lane she gazed into her past as one about to die. Here is my husband sleeping still, and shortly, in another 6 hours, he will die. She looks back upon the sunlit face of life, where he too ran and sported with the rest. lifting his head above the huge dark street. So you can see now this connection of that now it was is actually with this part of the previous canto, the connections are there always. The continuity is maintained there, although there was a gap of some 30 years between that part and that part of the passage, you see. The connections are there, you see. That is the beauty of the composition, the logical sequencing of things which happen, you see. In fact, this kind of thing, we have one very good example in book 4. Savitri was told by her father to find her own life's partner because nobody was coming forward to claim her hand in marriage. And so her father says, "You are now free. You can go around in the whole world and look for one whom you find to be suitable as your life's partner." She goes from place to place. She travels for several months constantly from place to place, you see, in the quest, Canto 4 of book 4, you see. And then towards the end of the canto, what happens? She is not seeing anybody at all inside. She has gone to different kingdoms, different palaces, different centers of worship, pilgrimages, hermitages, forests. She has been traveling almost for a year, you see. But she does not find anybody at all. And she is sort of uncertain what is going to happen, how she is going to find. And therefore, the quest remains in suspense till that moment. A grandiose silence wrapped the regal day. Silence, nothing is known, nothing. The months had fed, so she is traveling for months. The months had fed the passion of the sun as she is going here. And now his burning breath assailed the soil. Savitri's quest is now coming to a point when it is going to be this summer, which is important. The meeting of Satyavan and Savitri appears in the month of summer, in the month of June, basically, you see. So, and now his burning breath assailed the soil. The tiger heads proud to the fainting earth. You can see the intensity of summer at the time. Summer, as I told you, is very important because it is that which provides the physical cause for the death of Satyavan. The intensity of heat, as if it's not exactly a sunstroke, but that intensity of heat, you see. All was licked up as by a lolling tongue, tiger heat, you see, eating up, you see. The spring winds failed, the sky was like bronze, set like bronze. So it is the end of the summer, end of the spring and the beginning of the summer when the meeting takes place actually, you see. Now you see, so this is the end of the quest. She is not sure what is going to happen, but the next canto, next book rather, Book of Love, begins with, but now the destined spot. You see, now that correction here, it begins with but now. It begins with but now, you see. Same thing what we have got here in the Book of Death also. We have got the same connection in the Book of Death. But now the destined spot and hour were closed. So it is not only the place, but also the time. At this moment, at this place, they are going to meet. The destined, it is destined. It has to happen. So the important point here is the transition from one book to the other book. You see, he starts with the new book with but now. And it has a previous connection throughout, all along here, you see. That is important, you see. But now, the destiny. So you can see as if the whole thing is reading as a continuous logical sequence, you see. He is laid upon the work of all-wise fate. Obviously, it is fate who is wise and who has brought them together here at Ulpe. And nothing happens in the cosmic play, but at its time, at its time and in its foreseen place. Everything is fixed. Kala and Sthana, both of them are fixed. Kala and Sthana, where it has to happen. In the case of the destined people, the marked people, for them everything is fixed. Yes, this is to happen. On 29th March 1914, a great meeting had to take place. It is destined. Where is Paris? Where is Calcutta? Where is Pondicherry? But it happens. It has to take place. Destined time and destined place. So if you had to really mark the beginning of time, called zero moment, I will call the beginning of time as 4 p.m. 29th March 1914. From that day onward, the new time really begins. If you have to measure the distances from any place here, I will measure them from the guest house. That is the place where it has happened. That is the time when this has happened. The destiny is already fixed that way, and things have to roll out from that point onward. You see. So this is the connection what we are seeing for this mysterious line which we had here. Now it was here, in this now it was here, you see, in the fifth line here, you see. The connections are already built up, you see, like that, you see.